Okay, let's go. Happy Monday. We got a set called the Hisenior Cano Cristales. It's a $400 set, 2 DDs, 8 balanced armatures. This is a important video. If you are interested in this set, go ahead and comment below. I'm going to pick a subscriber that's subscribed to this channel and also the unboxing channel. Comments below. Give the video a thumbs up, please. And then I'm going to send it to them anywhere around the world. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to pay anything. If anybody tells you such a thing, they're lying. I will pick and I will contact you or announce it in the unboxing section, community section, and then you can get in touch with me, verify that you're legit, and then you get it, and I pay for it anywhere around the world. Again, if people reach out to you random on other platforms or they talk anything about you have to pay money, it's a scam. Don't pay attention to it. I don't take anybody's money for these giveaways. So good luck to you and thank you for the engagement. This is an important video because this is the first company that's come right out and said the obvious, and that is that the internal drivers are custom Belsing. They actually said that. His name is Gareth, and he's a very smart man because you're doing what a lot of people before you didn't do, and they danced around it because they have a complex, and it's based on the history and why Belsing was banned from the United States, and how Belsing was formed, and how data, intellectual property essentially was taken from Knowles, and it was slowly over time ported. We're talking physical gears, white papers like how to manufacture stuff, and all you need to do to create your own company based on how Knowles does and did it. And they went to court and they sued, and companies like Campfire Audio and others were outed for using Belsing inside, and that was potentially lost profits for Knowles because they shouldn't have been using Belsing, because Belsing actually shouldn't exist because they violated several rules that are related to intellectual property. Now, worth mentioning is there are some companies out there, and I won't name them, but they're talking about other BA providers that are based in China, like they're not connected to Belsing, which is kind of wild, but I can understand what they're doing. But that's almost doubling down on not being transparent. You're not saying what it is, and then you're implying it's something else, but it's actually a company that is connected to Belsing, because besides Sony, Knowles, and Belsing, there is not another company that is completely self-developed and manufacturing balanced armatures. That's a fact, and I know that because I've spoken to people in China, and I've spoken to people in Knowles about this topic, and I've kind of spoken to people in Sony, but they're much less, they don't talk much, actually, Sony. Knowles is, because I guess they were the people that were dinged. Now, what does this have to do with everything? So the Belsings have a taboo thing that are hanging over it, so people avoid it, and instead of saying Belsing, they say custom, which is what this company right here did, Hisenior. Tri-frequency, well-controlled surge water, ergonomic Cano Cristales. I don't know if they really even got into it. APA wide. They're not really getting into it. I don't know that they ever really did when it comes to the internal components. So they're not coming out and misleading you. But they're Belsing, and they sound good. Again, can you tell the difference between a Belsing and a Knowles? No. That's really not the point. This is about transparency, and I can purchase a phone, or before I purchase a phone, I can compare 4 of them side by side and get every single thing that's measurable, because they disclose all of those things, because they, number one, want to appeal to you because there's something they have that they think that you want, and they also have different levels and tiers to their line or their new lineup, and then you can break down what is exactly the reason that they're charging more for the Pro Max than for the non-Pro Max or the mid-tier. It's because it can do some things that, can you tell the difference in real-world use? With like graphic cards, probably not. There's most people that, unless you're max settings on the latest game, you're not going to really pick it up. Some of you might disagree, but I don't really think so. It's more of flex. It's more bragging rights to say that I've got the top of the line. It's like Summit 5 earphones. Are they really better than $500 earphones? Most of the times, no. It's a flex so that you can say, I got this thing. And there's less people out there in the world that can dispute whatever you say about it, because there's only 100 of them made, or 70 of them made, or 150 of them made, which is another topic about why would a company that could potentially sell $1,000, $5,000 earphones limit themselves to a few hundred? Because there's not a lot of companies that can, and the people that will spend that much money is not as much as it used to be, because it's really about flexing. I'll just kind of leave it at that. Let's talk about the Cano Cristales finally. How many, was this like 50 minutes into the video? This is a set that has a frequency response graph that is more V-shaped than the Mega 5 EST, which is one of the original kind of like what they started calling meta tunings, which is really essentially my target. So it's got more bass and it's got more upper mids. As we get into the low frequency, the 808 drops, it's got 2 DDs. It sounds like it does. It's got plenty of energy for stuff like Kendrick Lamar, Wu-Tang Clan, Nas, Public Enemy, Ghetto Boys. All of that sounds, those synthesized drops basically made on a deck, an 808 Roland, for example, sound like they've got plenty of power. If you've got a hip-hop library, this is something that'll probably take care of you just fine. Kendrick Lamar sounds great. As we move into 4 and 5 string bass guitar, the pulls, the plucks, the release, the ringing of the strings, it sounds good. When you've got this much low end, it can take part of the bass guitar and make it sound just slightly skewed. Remember this EADG, for example, that type of tuning? You're lifting up the lower end of that instrument, and you're really kind of, like anything that goes across the bass and then out into the mids, you're really lifting it up. So it is audible, but I think it sounds good. Bass lines definitely sound forward and prominent. Bonham's kick drum, the 4th album, When the Levee Breaks, it's a very emphatic, low energy event. Common part of a very common instrument, which is the drum kit. Sounds very produced and very much in your face, as it's supposed to. So on the low end, this is doing well. It's not something that people who want pristine vocal-centric replay, because anytime a low instrument comes in, it's going to kind of dominate the replay. But otherwise, it sounds fine. As we move into mids, which is essentially vocals, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, Nina doing the cover of Blondie. I think this actually sounds good. The bass is really coming in good at 200 hertz. There's not a lot down below there that really gets in the way. The vocal fundamentals do go lower, but you really got to be getting into the mid bass before you start to husk up female vocals, which goes terribly wrong very quickly. And male depends on the singer. Neil Young is not anything like a Chris Cornell. There's lots of different ranges, and my female library or selection is much less or smaller, so I can't really speak to that. But vocals sound good. If you're very sensitive, you probably wouldn't be interested in something with this much low end. As we get into harmonics and overtones, which is a great, the scale is confusing, because 19 slices of that 20 slice pie are compressed into about a quarter of the scale, but that's the region where you can become most stimulated at 6K or 5K or 9K, and it really just kind of presses it together. The range is actually maybe wider that you're much or very sensitive to, and it could be later in the upper mids and treble. So the tuning up there sometimes gets overlooked a little bit or quickly glazed over. It's like the only part of the replay that might be the deal breaker is the long 30-minute or longer session that just starts to get that ringing might be coming. And it's definitely related to stuff that's beyond 3 kilohertz. You might not know exactly what your sensitive spot is and just look at a graph in general and say, that's kind of boosted, that's going to make my ears ring. I'm not going to buy that set. So the bass and the mids is something you can easily chop into and say, too much of this does this, too little of that. When we get to the many thousands of hertz that are lined up and compressed, it's hard to specify, because people have dead spots, which means that when the 8 kilohertz on the sweep comes in, they don't even really pick that up, and then 7 comes in and bam, I'm offended. That's different for different people, that dead spot. This is a set that's got some energy that is in the upper mids. It pushes the vocals slightly forward, but it doesn't really bother me that much. There is some elevation in the 7, 8, 9. before it starts to fall off that's a little bit boosted, and it's a little more offensive to me than the forward vocals. And this is guitar, cymbals, rides and crashes, the electric or the acoustic, with or without distortion pedals, pianos, keyboards. The overtones from those events can be a little bit on me, but it's not really bad. Let me go ahead and rank this. Is it a dumpster fire? No. Hope was free. For somebody that comments below this video, it will be free. Coping is working. Kind of, because of the whole what's inside it, and then I reached out and they told, but that really turned into a great story in my opinion. Competes with its peers. If you're just going by audio, which is really what you should be doing if you're not a reviewer, just does it sound good to you, then go for it. I think it does. It's got a lot of bass, but I like a lot of bass. I'd buy it. I wouldn't, but that's because of the it's not really my tuning. It's not bad, but it's not really my tuning that I search out and purchase. But I don't buy stuff really anymore that I can't figure out what is inside it, because he told me when I asked, but it's not really listed. And I guess this is the slow development of this becoming not a topic anymore by talking about it and then getting out in front of it. But again, I talking about the Belsing, there was a suit, there was a denial of access to a market, and is this a sideways way to get around that? I don't, speaking out loud now, that might be what's partially related to this whole thing. So I wouldn't buy it, but it's the way the company replied was better than literally every company I've reached out to. 10, 11, 12 companies that I've reached out to and get no replies, get long explanations that contradict themselves by the end for implying that they are customized nulls, and then saying later that it doesn't really matter if it's Belsing or not. And well, okay, which is it? What are you talking about? I'm literally looking at a box to my left that, oh, okay, no, not them. I'll move along. Anyway, a lot of companies will kind of make you feel worse because they won't really answer the question. And when I asked this company, Hisenior, what's going on, not in any kind of a rude way, but could you tell me what's inside the driver because I can't see it on your website, they came out and said it. That has to have some value in itself. They're handling it in a better way than has been mentioned before by me, or in a world where I can get everything I need to know about my next phone purchase, or my DAP if I want to buy a DAP, or a desktop amp DAC combo, or really anything that's inside my PC, or something for my car, or a new head unit, or all of those things that I want to buy. I can, if I want, and I often do, compare them with competitors, and then their performance, and then what's inside it. Have I heard of that before? Nah, I haven't heard of that. And this other one, yeah, I'm familiar with that. That was in something I had previously, and I thought that was pretty good. Cameras and the chips that are in. This is not the argument against transparency is kind of not possible. Trust us, bro. Listen with your ears and not your eyes. I get that, but business is business. When you're selling and asking for money for stuff, it's on you. When you're asking for lots of money, it's really on you to explain why more money is deserved than stuff that's in the $500 range, where they almost all share that they have Sonians and nulls or customized nulls, which I'm happy to hear because I know that costs more money, and that's an investment that they've got to make because they can't parcel that out in small purchases. They've got to have a minimum order of certain for them to do that. So there is an investment up front by the company when they do custom nulls, which makes sense, and obviously that's what they do. So yeah, shout out to Hisenior for sending this to me, for also disclosing what's inside it. And I hope that more companies going forward are less. You draw attention to yourself when you don't. Like, I'm a father now, and if I ask my child something and he avoids my gaze, I feel like something's going on. If he looks me right in the eye and tries to explain, I don't feel anything weird. So this is something literally that starts from childhood. When you get to a company and you're asking them something and they don't directly answer it, you start to feel like, what? And then there's other companies like what Hisenior did and said, oh, these are like that. And like, yeah, there you go. I'm not more likely to recommend your set, but I'm definitely going to highlight the fact that you acted like a company that's asking for other people's literal money. And it's on you to be honest about what's going on and disclose what's inside of the thing that you're selling. Is this really a debatable topic for people out there? Are you really going to debate whether or not companies should disclose and be transparent about what's inside of the things that you're paying a lot of money for and they're claiming on forums are better than other sets that might actually have full disclosure? And you know, for example, the Camper CP622B. I know every driver in there because they proudly list it. I know every single one. I can check online where those drivers were intended to be used. And then there's other sets and people say, and sometimes they work for the companies that make these and say, this other set is better. Oh. And what's inside of it again? Oh, you're not. I see. So it's the Trust Us Pro at the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 range. I see. That's absolutely bonkers. And people believe that, or ignore it and then promote and try to get other people to open their wallets for companies that are saying, we know what we're doing, just trust us. Trust the ears of the people that are friends with us. That's another wild reach, isn't it? Trust us, and we'll also comment against our rivals, and also the people that we're friendly with and are friendly to us, trust them because they wouldn't lie. There's no motivation for them to be very supportive of us. It's really a hustle, and Hisenior doesn't seem to be actively participating in this hustle, at least when asked, or I didn't even call him out, I just asked him. So that's notable. I'll let you guys go. Again, if this isn't important to you, it's not tuned bad. It plays back my library well, and there are other sets that are asking way more and saying way less. So shop. The more info you know, the better decision you can make. Is that? That's not debatable, is it? If you're actually going to say that transparency is something you're not really don't care about, which I in 2025, really, where everything is at your fingertips, and you do it all the time, but in this hobby, it's not really. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I'll just let it go at that. And I'm out. Don't forget to comment below, give the video a thumbs up. And I'm out.